Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the latest session of Boys from the Baltic Star, a traveller adventure. Look, it's even saying it on screen for you tonight. You don't even have to listen to me, which is just as well because I forgot to turn the sound on last night, but it's looking better tonight. Um, if you don't already, please look to follow us on Twitter at Boys Baltic. That's the bottom left. And otherwise, I'll just introduce the three of us before handing over to our delightful, lovely, and kind referee for the evening. I'm Luke in the bottom corner with no sleeves. I've already torn them off to make tourniquets. I can see what's coming. In the bottom left is my partner in crime. That is Ewan. He'll be doing all the hard work while I sit back and take the glory. And that beautiful one in the middle, the man, the myth, the legend, the one who always rolls ones and twos, who's always kind, who lets us get away with everything. It is our referee, Ben. So, Ben, I guess over to you.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you. I get the feeling you're trying to sort of preload this evening's activities somehow. I don't know, something about that intro.
I'm sensing danger.
So where we're up to. On Osin, the travellers have had some discussions with Stanley Strife, the leader of the Riftsmen's Guild, and they passed him all the information they've gathered on the governor, the mine, the money they acquired. Even their occasional ally, Sever, was offered up as sacrifice to Strife. They ended up with a promise they could have some of the money, and that Sever would be allowed, even encouraged, to flee the system as far as Geeka, something he seems to want. They also entered into a conspiracy involving the leadership of the entire world of Osin. Officer Pramus, a senior officer in the Imperial Navy, also seems to want Sever to travel to Geeka. So far, it's unclear why Sever and Pramus are so keen on this, or even if their reasons are the same. The travellers managed to secure the tacit agreement of Pramus that they should have some flexibility in their next moves. In preparation for the annual speech by Governor Papa Krebs, the travellers made contact with his assistant, Sil Sava, and obtained a large quantity of cyanide because there is supposedly an infestation of some sort. And that is where we resume the story. So, we are now essentially on the day of the big speech.
I'm very glad we've got the poison because I am worried about the rat population, and it's put my mind at rest a little bit that we're ready for it.
Yeah. Yes, I did see you were worried about that. That was a revelation to me how worried you were about the vermin problem.
2 kilos.
Especially on the ship, when we get back to the ship.
Yeah, 2 kilograms of potassium cyanide should deal with quite a lot of vermin, I would think.
Yeah,
and not just vermin. What was the deal on Osin with weapons? Because I know we've carried them around a bit, and Saria had the rifle, and the rest of us had pistols. What is it? Is there overarching guidelines?
The law level is mostly enforced at the ports. So the reason Saria has essentially been able to carry around her custom rifle is because she purchased it here. When you guys came in, when you initially got your clearances, you passed through a fairly cursory customs check. And at the time, you weren't familiar with Osin particularly, and you made the decision, not unreasonably, to stick pretty closely to the basic guidelines. They're fairly flexible. You can have and enthusiastically get away with such things as a laser pistol, even a shotgun without any trouble. But nobody's bothered you. Well, you know that from your own experience. Nobody's come up to you and demanded to see permits to carry or anything like that. The population is not entirely armed by any means, but it's not unusual to see armed people. And when you visited the sort of Riftsmen's Guild headquarters, pretty much everybody there was carrying substantial weaponry.
Oh yeah, we were no threat to them. Yeah. They were packing.
Though that being said, is it worth us making sure that anything that we don't want to take to whatever function speech it is we're going to is already aboard some kind of ship waiting for us?
Are you suggesting some kind of A-Team-esque, prepping for the mission on
Well,
the ship?
I mean, I'm not saying we're going to need to make a quick getaway, but chances are we're going to need to make a quick getaway if things go poorly. Obviously.
Are you going looking for a rickety garage made out of badly constructed wooden planks with an old truck in it that you can convert?
There's no other garage I'll be looking for, quite frankly.
No, the simple truth is you don't know what the security arrangements will be.
Yeah.
So we need to be...
But I assume it's worth, anything heavy or anything else in our room that may be a personal item that we're not going to carry on us.
Yeah, should we make that trip back then? Should we go back to the ship, take everything?
Yeah, I mean, one of us could probably take everything, I guess, maybe.
And then
work out. Much we've got.
It depends if we're working out what we're going to bring with us, because I'm guessing we're not carrying everything we own at the minute, are we? So it's trying to work out. Because I've got a couple of people that could probably do with changing a loadout, if that makes sense, slightly for the day, with a bit of thinking, if that's all right. Though, I've got a question actually, Ben, on that. Kara's got a laser gauntlet, and I've read that a wire, it goes around and pops out, all very futuristically. But I was trying to work out whether I could wear it under something. But I've read that there's a backpack attached to it that helps power it. Is the backpack of a size that I could buy a more generic looking backpack to just pretend she's carrying a lunch or something with her? Like, at least try.
Well, give me a clue here. What's the damage on the laser gauntlet?
It's not big. It's a laser gauntlet is just a 3D.
Okay, so it's in line with a sort of carbine type weapon.
Yeah, so the laser pistol, that kind of thing.
The backpack is going to be relatively small because it's going to be enough to basically take some of the innards out of a standard sized, relatively short rifle sort of thing. Yes, if you want to cover it with literally like a standard backpack where you've just cut out the bit that's on your back, if you know what I mean, the side that faces your back, so that it covers the backpack of the weapon, or otherwise discreetly hides it inside, I don't think that would be a problem. It would of course provide no protection against a scan, for example.
No, but I'd like to at least give that a go and sort of catch an idea of the way the wind is blowing. If we get towards the door, if she lurks a bit and realises things are going south, she'll sort of stash it somewhere and mark it up to loss, I guess. But otherwise, she's going to be quite lowly powered, I think. So.
Yeah, I'm with you. That would. It would be. I mean, it's not exactly a secret weapon, but it would be a reasonably discreet one. That would be the way to put it, I suppose.
Then, yes, please. I think we finished up around all the shops, didn't we? So we just picked up the thingy. So I'm guessing there's somewhere that I can just grab some kind of quite generic-looking backpack without too much trouble. Doesn't need to be fancy.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem. It would be very, very easy, in fact, to find a suitable merchant. And realistically, the price we're talking about is going to be of the order of 10 credits, maybe.
Cool. Thank you very much. Perfect. Thank you. Right. Shall we go and cash out at the hotel then? Was that what you were thinking, Ewan? Make sure we got everything that we need.
At least make sure that we haven't left anything that's of vital importance to us in the rooms, just in case.
Okay, so you want to collect your luggage and take them to the launch in the downport.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that shouldn't be a challenge. You actually prepaid for your entire stay at the hotel. So there's no payment to worry about on checking out, and you haven't taken advantage of any unusual services or anything like that. You haven't even eaten meals really in the hotel, except for food you brought back yourself, or mostly drinks you brought back yourself. So so there's nothing else to worry about, and the checkout goes completely smoothly, as you would expect. Bear in mind, however, you do have some baggage in the form of Sammy Cress with you in the hotel.
She's not.
So she and her brother, you'll need to determine what you might want to do about that.
What are you thinking, Ewan? Should we keep her as safe as possible, or do you want to? Because I don't know what John is going to be worth in a fight.
No, he might be a little bit the sneaky type, maybe. I don't know. He seemed a little nervous, if I'm honest, around the guild the last time we went there. So maybe he's better out of the whole thing.
Yeah, because I don't.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Well, he hasn't been invited to the thing, has he? Where we're going. So
that's true.
At the very most, they'd be having a quiet. They could be having a quiet drink a little bit away on standby in case we're running and we need a bit of misdirection or something, maybe.
Yeah, we could set them up at a bar somewhere close to where we will be, perhaps.
Yeah, I think so. Like a block or two away. Because we go into the big place, aren't we? The big ship. What's it called again?
The ship is called the Fredericksburg, and the
Fredericksburg.
party is in the governor's office suite, which is in the decommissioned Spinal Mount weapon bay.
Is there a bar just outside the Fredericksburg, sort of the main entrance in or something, that we could ask if they'd enjoy the evening there? We can ask them.
Not. Well, you don't even have to leave the Fredericksburg. As soon as you step away from the governor's sort of office area, the central part of the ship has a significant number of cafes, restaurants, and the like for the community. It's like a town square and town centre. But not only that, they will be busy. They will be filled with people this evening because of the speech.
Perfect. So you think it's sort of there then, you and sort of close by?
Yeah, kind of makes sense, doesn't it? And then if they need us, we're there, and if we need them, they're there, and if we all need to run, we're all in a similar locale.
Okay.
Unless you've got, any other ideas of what to do with them.
I like that. No, I think that makes sense.
Wonderful.
Cara will put sort of an arm around Sammy as she sort of comes out. It's the first time she's been out of that room for days, hasn't she? She's been recovering, bless her. Sort of puts her arm around her, says, Sammy, I hope you're feeling well. I don't know if your brother's said much about this evening. I know that he was saying that he was planning to sort of hang out with you for a bit. But you can trust us by now. I know we get you into scrapes from time to time, but you've protected us with your life on more than one occasion. I know Stefan's got his life to, his life's in your hands very much so, I believe, after that time on the planet with the gloop. We just ask that you trust us in this situation, and that the two of you, if you're hanging out together, enjoying a bit of time together this evening, if you would be willing to sort of have a couple of drinks sort of in the Fredericksburg, in the town square there, for us.
Yeah, roll persuade for me. With in fact, you can have boon and your choice of intellectual social.
So I'm getting a +4 and a boon. Okay, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 6, a 3, and a 2. So that's a 9 + 4 is 13.
Okay. Yeah. She nods enthusiastically and says, that actually sounds great. Just getting outside, spending a bit of time with Johnny. If you need us to hold on to anything for you away from the party, so it's close by if you need it, we'll We'll bring a couple of holdalls,
Very nice.
Fantastic. We may well be making use of that as we head in this evening. Yes, thank you.
Oh God. Yeah. I have a question, Ben. From the evening that Stefan spent with Sil chatting, I kind of glazed over it because, well, for the sake of our viewers and for you, the small talk. But would he have found out any hobbies or general interests or something that was quite fond to her in our casual conversation?
Yeah, I mean, there's every chance you might have, because we didn't discuss. You didn't point it out at the time. I'm going to suggest that you can take your pick of carouse or persuade, and since it was a fairly convivial evening, you can have boon on that as well.
Oh.
And then roll social.
I'm not too sure how I feel about all this generosity at this stage of the evening.
It's very early for the generosity.
Thank you very much, then. I will take... I mean, they're both the same, but I'll take carouse, I suppose. Seems more appropriate. And that is an 8 plus 1 is 9.
Okay. Yes, there are a couple of things she mentioned. She didn't make a big thing out of them. She's apparently a huge lover of live performance, especially the theatre. She enjoys film, and she talked about that a little bit. But the other thing she went on and on about is her love of the way she misses anywhere with a natural world. She lives on a planet now. I mean, she's an import, of course. She didn't grow up here. She came with the governor. She's been here just over a year. And the simple fact is she misses planets with trees and grass and, that kind of stuff. That's something she really did focus on.
Okay, wonderful. From Stefan's knowledge, would it be particularly difficult to, or take particularly long? I suppose he will talk to Cara about this, being the artist, and see if she could knock up a postcard, very much like our wonderful postcards that are popping up at the minute. But for
the ones that are currently slide showing past.
Yeah, something of a very natural world or landscape, or something
with squiddlings on it, or
yeah. He's not very artistic, so he wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, Cara will say she can do it. We've got a few hours till the evening, haven't we? It's not going to take that long to cut a hole in a backpack.
Yeah, you've got a bit of slack time here.
Cool. What she'd like to do is she'll look up some images from Earth Park on Geeka.
Okay.
Of the animals and the surroundings there. I'm guessing it's quite luscious, that park. Is there? There's some trees and some grass and some bushes.
There is. I mean, the nature of a business like Earth Park is that obviously they don't want too much of what they offer to be spread too widely. They want you to come to them. But there is one thing on the sheet that really stands out when you search. There's something called the Fragrant Forest, and there is image of trees and bushes and shrubs and a sort of gentle rolling countryside, which looks absolutely idyllic.
Cool. So Cara back on the ship when we get there. She'll knock up sort of a sketch, a quick whatever she can do in a few hours of the Fragrant Forest.
All right. Can you roll me an art check, please?
With also, to add to the art check, with kind of a sketch of Sil within it, a bit cutesy, maybe a bit, whatever the version of a slightly cutesy Japanese piece, V sign would be, as if she looked happy in that world.
Okay. Yeah.
Not with a human ear headband though, or whatever, or whatever Agnar wanted to get.
Can Stefan just preface it with something, nothing major, sort of
just a little sketch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Baseball card sort of size, smaller than postcard. Something discreet.
Yeah. This will be essentially an education check because it's based on learned skills, and with your art skill, the relevant one.
So visual media.
Yeah, visual media. Thank you. Very good reminder. I was desperately looking down for it and couldn't see it. That one.
So visual media plus education. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
We're playing to my forte today. This is good stuff. Come on. That's 2 9s in a row. I'm going quite big early on today. I'm a bit worried.
Okay.
That is 13.
Okay, can you roll a d6 for me, please?
Oh, yes. 2.
Okay. It will take about 2 hours for Cara to knock up the finished piece, which you do have time with still time to get ready for the party.
Fantastic. I like it. That sounds good. Yeah, she can do that. She'll sort of give Stefan a bit of a wink and a bit of a nudge elbow into his ribs a little bit. You take a shine to her, did you? Want to show her the worlds?
Stefan will just sort of, he'll get a little bit shy about it, and he'll just say, well, no, actually, I just kind of want to give her some kind of recompense for getting in an extra camera crew and making sure that we've got one on our embarrassed friend, and that he got an invite. As way of an apology, you might say.
Yeah. Yeah, on the basis you have kind of set her up here. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Very much. Oh, bless her. A postcard will solve everything. It's going to be a very
nice... you're going to go to jail for the rest of your life kind of way, but it's not going to do you any favours.
It is a 13 rated postcard though, so it's going to be a good postcard.
Right. He'll when she's done, he'll write a little message on the back and just sign it off. Stefan.
Cool. Okay. Excellent. Are you sending it to her in advance, or are you going to take it with you to the party?
He'll take it with him.
Okay. Fair enough. Right. Well, we are now down to kind of the last hour or so before the event. Is there anything else you want to do, or is this it, so to speak?
So all the stuff's on the ship. We've got our 2 people who are going to be waiting outside in Fredericksburg with holdalls, which we can dump stuff in if we need.
Mm-hmm.
Stefan, you got the post. Do we need to stash the poison, Stefan?
Yeah. We determined, didn't we, at some point, what sort of dosage we would need? It was a pinch. Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah. Yes, it's a very small amount. It is significantly less than a gram, put it that way. This is pure crystalline potassium cyanide.
Yeah. Stefan's smuggling container upon his person, his augment, I was reading opens with some kind of blemish on the skin that is a button or switch or
yes,
what have
you can have essentially a secret opening. The extent to which it is hidden is somewhat dependent on how it's scanned, because it will show up in a medical scanner, of course. But for most security purposes, it should work.
Cool. I suppose Stefan would know this. I wouldn't. Is it lined? If he puts it in there pure, is it going to be, a bad situation for him? Do we need to wrap it in cling film before he drops it in?
Stefan the Mule. Yes. Yeah. That was an old TV series, wasn't it? Stefan the Mule. Anyway, the compartment is a self-contained electronic sealed compartment. It is not open to the organs of the body or the blood flow or anything like that.
Sure.
I would, however, point out that throwing loose crystals in there could produce an ongoing problem with having to then hoover it out later and wipe it down. So possibly some sort of container would be worth doing.
Okay. I guess possibly Is it likely that Agnar would have anything in a medikit that would be, vial or smaller sized? Or that we could find something from...
Yes, it absolutely would. A med kit would contain several suitable files of drugs, and though some of them would definitely be, single-use disposable containers, even those could easily be jury-rigged for a one-off purpose like this. Even if you have to break off the end to use them normally, it wouldn't stop you rinsing them out, drying them off, throwing some poison in there, and then sealing it with an ad hoc bit of tape or something like that. I don't anticipate that will be a problem. No.
Wonderful. So we could sort of set something up where it would be contained yet easy to open and access the vial itself.
Yes, I suppose the only question is: are you preparing anything other than the crystal? Are you going to deploy the crystal, or do you want to do something with it first?
Can we sort of powder it down in some shape or form so that it can
dissolve we could quicker? Dissolve it in. We could pre-dissolve it in a liquid, couldn't we?
And have that in the vial. Yeah.
And then add the liquid to something.
Especially if if that liquid takes the burn off a little bit. Put a bit of Gaviscon in with it or something.
Some sugar syrup.
Yeah, just a tick.
So what are you going to try?
Well, we've got lots to try with. What do you want to start with first? What could be a good... what takes off a burn down the throat? Something that lines the throat, something milky, maybe.
Or what disguises it?
Yeah.
Although actually, I suppose if we're adding it to something, we don't want to necessarily...
You want it to be clear, I'm guessing, just in case it has to go into a drink.
Yeah, something clear.
So maybe something slightly sweet, a sugar solution or something. Maybe something that smells of burnt toast, so people just think he's having a stroke or something.
I don't think it works that if I think it's the person who's having the stroke. Not the people around them.
But his last words could be,
he smells like burnt toast.
But his last words could be, I smell burnt toast. So
yeah, I think I'm right in saying if you're around somebody who smells like burnt toast, it's not because they have a stroke, it's because they're having an electric chair.
Oh dear. Yeah, I mean, I guess something sweet and clear.
Okay.
Perhaps do a quick little internet search if one of your guys doesn't mind first, just to make sure it's not going to, kill us all instantly when we add it to whatever we're adding it to. Sugar and water, I guess.
Yeah, can I just go on the old...
Just check it's not going to start letting off gas straight away and...
like
we're going to be in trouble.
It's basically BBC bite-sized level of science we're dealing with. It's just none of us are very good at chemistry. I'll go on Ossian's bite size to the kids' chemistry website to find out if cyanide reacts badly with sugar syrup. If there's any precautions we need to take while we're doing that, just so we don't have an icy
Okay. Yes, roll. It seems a ridiculous thing to make you roll for, but I think you have to because there is a legitimate thing here you kind of might miss. Okay. So, can you roll for me a straight education check? And you can add any science you do have.
Philosophy's a science.
No, it isn't. No.
It is according to Traveller.
Even philosophy of science isn't actually a science. It's a part of philosophy.
7 plus, did you say education? 2. 9. Yeah. 9.
Okay. Cyanides are fairly active organic molecules. So they react with most things that are organic over time and at least in some proportion. If you were to put it in, say, sugar water, then you would potentially create new chemicals of sort of sucrose cyanide, if you see what I mean.
Mhm.
However, the thing that does the damage with cyanide is the cyanide ion. It doesn't necessarily make a big difference whether it's just dissolved in water or dissolved in sugar water. And there shouldn't be any kind of big explosions or anything of that nature.
Cool. So although it might change some of the structure as such, the killing mechanism still exists, and it's not likely to suddenly go poof while in Stefan's stomach.
Yeah, even if it does form, and it can under certain circumstances form different compounds, the fact is the cyanide ion is the thing that does the damage.
There you go. I'll relay that back to you. There you are, Stefan. You can mix it
give
up
it a
and stick
shot.
Mix it up and
then,
stick
I
it inside you.
suppose.
Yeah, cool.
So we're going to attempt to do that. Dissolve it.
All right. Yes. So what you're basically doing is stealing the sugar packets from the sort of the hotel's tea's made.
Well, we took everything with us. I took some towels as well and some soaps. You can never have too many of those little soaps.
You've got to know where your towel is. So on that basis, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would like you to roll. Yes, I would like you to roll a science chemistry check, please.
Who wants to do this?
Saraya's got a jack of all trades, so would be rolling at a -1.
Okay. You can have education as a bonus as well.
That's no bonus for Saraya, but that's probably gonna be the best. -1 is probably gonna be the best for anyone, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Stefan will be at a -4.
He's not he comes up with the ideas, but he's not an educated.
He's not very educated, and he has no chemistry.
Right, that's the third one of these tonight. 9 - 1 is 8.
Okay. As far as you can tell, what you are left with is enough cyanide in enough water and with enough sugar. As best you can do it. You've done the best job you can.
Yeah, I think so. She's done her best. She's not a scientist, but she can do a bit. So that will carefully get strained into the vial, which has been emptied and cleaned. Don't want him getting any germs, do we? And then and then she'll pass it over to Stefan, and we'll turn away while he does the deed.
Yeah. You definitely don't want to accidentally give it to him in a dirty glass.
Exactly. Safety first, I feel.
Quite right. Yes.
We may be poisoners, but our food hygiene is on point.
Yeah. But we won't be killing them because of our bad food.
For certain definitions of bad food, yes.
Yeah.
So, fair enough. You have your prepared dose of poison. The only other thing I really need to know is, are you preparing enough just for him, or for one person, I should say, or are you preparing enough for many, many people?
Oh no, we're not mass murderers. What do you take us for?
I was just thinking that perhaps we prepare one dose of that and one dose of powdered up stuff, just as a backup should anything have gone terribly wrong. Not that I don't trust the chemical skills or myself.
How dare you?
But just as we have this and it is neat and we know it's going to work. Plan B option.
Okay.
Does that sound? It doesn't sound unreasonable, does it, Luke?
No, that's good. That's kind of the new kit from Orbit kind of approach. If the assassination with like a laser tripwire doesn't work,
the only way to be sure.
It is the only way to be sure. It's just powder. Just hold his throat and chuck powder down it.
Yeah, exactly. If he's still alive 3 hours later, just when he's about to give his speech, we know we're in trouble, but we have got another option.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, that one won't require any kind of chemistry roll because it is literally pouring powder into a container and then sticking it inside Stefan.
Yeah.
Cool.
For those of you watching that don't know this, Stefan has a hidden compartment. If you've just tuned in, it's not going up his bottom or anything.
We're not, yeah. Thank you, actually.
It's an augmentation.
Clarifying that.
Should actually say Stefan has an additional hidden compartment over and above the hidden compartments that everybody
A
carries.
regular hidden compartment, yeah.
The one that means that even if everyone else dies in the Baltic Star, he can start a new career as a drugs runner and do very well for himself.
Yeah. Which, we haven't seen what the roles are going to be yet.
No, so it could be.
Okay. Is that the sum total of your preparations before you pull on some clothing and head out to the party?
Sarai will graffiti a bit. Cara will graffiti a bit over her new backpack, cut it all out, make sure it all fits. She's going to put the gauntlet laser on. She's purposefully going to wear, as we're back in the thing, her vac suit. I'm guessing she can she'll have her vac suit, put her vac suit back on, but sort of have it undone. She's got, her underneath clothes underneath, but just that slight extra layer of the vac suit, if that makes sense. And she'll have it sort of with a t-shirt on, try have it undone, sort of that mid chest, like if you've got a hoodie on, and you've just gone inside, and so you're looking quite cash. So she's gonna go that with the vac suit with that underneath. She's not quite arms tied around the waist, relaxation, but And so she's covering it the best she can, basically, with the backpack.
Fair enough.
Well. Yeah. She's gonna give she's got a body pistol made out of guts and bones and jaws and things like that, which she's going to hand to Saria, who's got slug ability.
Okay.
So Chorus and that Saria will stash wherever the best place to stash it would be. I don't know the best place to stash. The inside of if someone's patting you down. Where do they normally pat? Oh, it'd be a machine, wouldn't it? So we'll just inside of the thigh for now, because she'll get to a bathroom if she needs to and change it around. She'll tape it to the inside of the thigh.
Look, probably a question for you. Does Saria still have Stefan's laser pistol?
No, she gave it back to him. So he's got that. She had two. She sold one when she got the gauntlet laser, and she was Cara Croft, wasn't she? And she's only got one left, which is her other one. So.
Wonderful. Can Stefan will give his laser pistol to Agnar because it's a lot more conspicuous than a shotgun or a laser carbine, I would imagine.
A laser pistol is a relatively small weapon. Yeah, it's something you can stick on your hip or on the back of your waist or
Perfect.
It's not technically invisible by any means, but it's not obvious.
Yeah, it's not so long. I just realised that the webcam, you couldn't actually see where I was putting my hands, but they were out there at a length of a fish that I just caught.
It was so long that so long we couldn't see it.
He will put on his knuckle blaster glove.
Yep.
And load it. He won't take any extra ammunition, but he'll just make sure that he's got one round in there. If that makes sense.
Yeah, doesn't it take 3 rounds or something?
Yeah, sorry. The equivalent for one fire.
Yeah. Okay, so the three cartridges. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And he'll make sure he doesn't have any extra ammunition other than whatever's in his hand laser pistol, which I assume is loaded somewhere in.
Yes, it will have essentially its power cell has a number of shots. I think 100 shots or something for a laser pistol, sure. and it will have whatever's left based on how many you've used and whether or not you've changed it for a newer one. Essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe he'll change it so he's got 100 shots in there.
Okay.
And just make sure.
Just to make sure.
You never know. There's a lot of people.
We flying up to the Italian next week.
I mean, he had 96, and those extra 4 might just be the difference between a getaway and not.
It seems to me you guys prepare for parties slightly differently to the way I do. I don't know.
Well, we'll put the bow tie on.
This is us, then. This is our characters. I mean, Luke and I, we go a lot more heavily armed to parties.
Yes, catch you leaving the carbine at home.
That's it. Cara will. She's got a stun fist because she's not as aggressive as Stefan with his knuckle blasters. So she'll put the stun fist on, which once this is a black glove with some visible things on it, and then she'll pull on another standard, another standard black glove from like a flight glove or whatever, and she'll I'm sure as it's the sort of the transport shuttle, there'll be some sort of future gaffer tape or something that she'll just sort of wrap around the top bit of both to try and make them look as similar as possible under brief glance, if that makes sense.
I'm with you.
And then she'll sort of with a bit of graffiti, and she'll just like write a couple of words on it as if it's her style,
Just so you're aware, your stun fist glove won't work if the other glove's over it.
No, that's what I mean. She's got her stun fist glove on one hand, a regular black glove on the other.
Okay.
But then she'll like silver tape, whatever sort of tape it is over that bit to try and make them look as similar as possible.
So she'll find herself a sort of silver marker or something and draw some designs that make it look like they're the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
At least
I misunderstood.
At least to a cursory glance, I guess, but yeah.
Yep. No, I misunderstood. I thought you were pulling another one over the top to disguise the first one, but no. Okay.
Gloves. She's going to go for 6 gloves and keep revealing. Ha ha ha! She's going to offer a lot of people out to duels. One more.
Excellent. Okay. Anything else to prepare?
My girls will take their gear, like their normal equipment, and if they get called up on anything when they go there, they'll say, "Oh, wait a second," and they'll put them in the holdalls outside, if that makes sense. I'll get in what I can get in, and if I can't, that can be decided when we get there.
Cool. Oh, yeah,
Can I apologise and just backtrack slightly? Cool. And just as we're all getting ready, Stefan will suddenly think twice about this. And he will not take his knuckle blasters.
Oh.
Okay.
He doesn't want to get pulled up for something silly that he's probably not going to use.
All right.
When he has other things stowed about his person.
That's true.
Yes. Understood. So, do you want to put the knuckle blasters into the hold-all that Sammy's got?
Yeah, I mean, I guess at this point that's probably the most realistic option without him having to run back to the ship again to put it on the ship. So we'll just leave it with Sammy.
Okay, all
Johnny,
good.
If that's all right.
Yep, they've each got a hold-all which they'll keep an eye on in the nearby bar, and it really is just a couple of 100 feet away from the main entrance to the suite. So
cool.
It's not going to be that difficult to get to.
How big are these holdalls? Do they take? Would they take carbine, or are we talking smaller?
Yes.
Then I'll stash my carbines for each person in there. A couple of laser carbines, I guess.
Are we talking Matrix duffel bags?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what
in my brain, I'm thinking like a cricket bag.
Yeah.
So something you could put a couple of pads and a bat in, as well as some gloves and that kind of thing. These are relatively substantial shoulder holdalls. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, and Kara's got a stun gun, which she'll keep with her because it's a self-defense thing. Do you know what I mean? Any creeps wandering around all of a sudden, no one will stop her for that.
Rough streets on Austin.
It is tough streets on Austin. So there we go. So she's got a stun fist and a stunner, and gauntlet laser and laser gun. Saria's got a Gauss pistol and a body pistol. They've both got carbines in the bag, and they'll be carrying their gear and see how far they get with them, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let me quickly check. All right. Sammy and Johnny managed to attract essentially no attention as they meander their way into a nearby cafe and settle down in a quiet corner with a view of the screen that's going to be broadcasting the events that actually aren't very far away, but obviously they won't be present for. And the others of you approach the entry of the suite. You've been here before, and you're used to the arrangement. As you get towards the front of the bay, you start to see this area where the glass dome overhead shows you the twinkling starlight and everything above you, and the 3 sort of quite grand double doors that lead through into the lobby where you've been before, where the pools are. The only difference is that tonight there are two clearly security officers, one standing at each side of the line of 3 double doors. And they are looking up and down everyone who approaches, and clearly they are responsible for making sure people don't go in if they aren't invited.
Cool. Who's carrying the least obviously? You know, if someone gets scanned, who's least likely to get in trouble? I have to give something away. Like, who can go first, just in case? Is it Stefan that's literally carrying nothing dodgy?
I mean, depending on the scanners, the tech level of scanners, then in theory, Stefan should be okay as long as they're not high tech. He'll go first. Do you want to? Who has the copy of our invite? Did it get messaged to somebody, or is it just a name on a list type thing?
You are effectively on the list. You have all got electronic copies of an invitation on your personal devices.
Cool.
But you are expected.
Stefan will volunteer and say, if you want someone to test out the waters, I'll go in and message you what to expect.
Okay.
Once he's in.
As Stefan approaches the entrance to the facility, he's confronted with the 3 double doors. Essentially, the outer 2 each have a guard standing beside them, not in any way obstructing them. The middle one is obviously between them, and it's further away from both of them. There doesn't seem to be any obvious reason to pick one over the other. There's no sign that says this way in or party this way or anything like that. But as Stefan approaches, it becomes clear that the guards are watching everyone, but not seemingly doing anything beyond checking them up and down and glancing down at their own little tablets to see who's coming, so to speak. So I need you to roll me a deception check, please.
Oh, well, that's not too bad. Could he, I don't suppose it's particularly relevant, but would he have any streetwise awareness for this sort of social situation, or is this above?
No, I'm afraid this is either,
tumble.
In this case, it's intellect plus deception.
Oh, perfect. Well, that's a 0. And a 0. And a 0.
A big fat 0.
And he did manage to roll a whole 5.
A 5, okay.
Plus 0. Don't forget.
Plus 0. Okay.
And then plus another 0.
So that's 0. Carry the 0. Okay. So what? All right. As Stefan approaches, the guard on the right, the sort of western side of the doors. If you imagine the frontage runs east-west, so the doors effectively lead south for just your mental image. Yeah. He steps up and he says, hold 1 second. And he sort of glances up and down and he says, you're expected. You are, and he glances down. And it's like he's sort of looking rather sluggishly at his list.
Stefan will say, yes, I'm Stefan Miller. We're guests of the Papa Cress and Sil Salva, if you care to check. Well, I am guest.
He looks up and he says, my apologies, and pulls the door open for you.
Stefan will just say, oh, don't worry, you're only doing your job, and thank him and carry on.
Okay. On the way in, you almost immediately see, not far the other side is Sil standing there, seemingly waiting to greet people as they arrive. And there are a couple more of these security guards near the doors on the other side of them. And then in the rest of the building stretching away, you have a number of guests. There's a waitress circulating, and you can see Papa Krebs circulating with the guests as well. And beyond them, a little glance at a couple of holographer crews just an individual person per crew, you understand, with a holography camera and a little microphone rig mounted on top of it.
He'll wait till he's sort of not reached anybody he knows, but far enough past security that he can just send a message without somebody looking over his shoulder. And just he will probably message Saria and just say, didn't appear as though they were scanning us. If you get any troubles, just give your name and drop Papa Cress's name. Should be fine.
Okay.
So Saria
So
will turn
who
to
is
the other
going
two.
next?
Saria will go next. Then she's got nothing. She's got personal firearm visible and nothing else visible, so she'll go in next.
Okay. Then we need a deception check. It's intellect plus your deception.
Okay. Intellect helps. My jack of all trade helps. That gets me back to 0 at least. So I'm rolling to zeros as well. Okay. They're warming. They're cooling slightly, step by step. We're down to 8 now. It's dribbling down as the evening goes.
The same security guard sees her approach and literally just holds the door open. There's no hesitation.
Cool. Nice.
Next.
Agnar will offer it up and say, "Sure, do you want me to go?" Or
Kara says, "Let's go together," and sort of slips her arm into his arm.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Okay. Agnar will approach with purpose. You know, I'm sure he's used to these sort of social.
All right.
Something like this social situation.
We are going to do a task chain.
Oh no!
So who wants to go first?
Well, ladies first.
Okay. Intellect
Agnar is
deception. Nothing but a gentleman.
Nothing but a gentleman.
Yeah, and he is a gentleman. Intellect deception, you said?
Yep.
Okay. Oh no, they are. What? Going down 1 again. But 7 plus 2 is 9.
7 plus 2 is 9.
No,
so Agnar can have a +1.
which will give him intellect. Did you say?
Intellect and deception, yes.
Oh, wonderful. Which will give him a +2 total.
Okay.
Could he use social in this instead of intellect?
Oh.
You know, I think you can justify that. Yes.
Given his station.
Is he flashing his
point.
medal?
At one point. Yeah.
Don't you know who I am?
Particularly relative to the guys doing the guarding. Yeah, I think social would make sense here. Yeah.
Wonderful. Which is much better. Gives him a +4 total. Including Luke's.
Including the bonus.
Yeah. He rolled an 8 +4.
Wow. Yes. Okay. The guard holds the door open and almost grovels as the two of you stride past. Yes, he is deeply impressed.
Wonderful.
I told you, power couple. They go together.
Absolutely. Yeah, and
classic power couple.
And what that means essentially is that the four of you now find yourselves inside the room, and this is a sort of, I suppose, a slightly new experience for you. However, what I will do, because we're about to go for our sort of half-time break and change ends and get a slice of orange, aren't we?
We are, actually.
So what I think is that I should be able to show you what you actually see before we take our break.
Apologies to anyone viewing who has to now look at my giant face.
It's
For this
particularly
short
giant.
interim.
You're sitting very close to the screen.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I would be tempted to apologise as well for those who obviously have to look at Ewan's face. But it seems only fair. You apologise, so I feel I ought to.
Sure. It's all of our responsibility.
Yes, Ewan.
Well, that's what I say, so I can sleep at night.
Yeah, Absolutely.
Oh, that means I need to change mine as well. Let's get rid of that. Let's bring in that. Ah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
looks
what you
good.
can see there are the 3 doors. The A, B, C, and D are the guards. The 2 outside and the 2 inside. And Silsava is visible in green with the beginnings of Sil label.
See. Yeah.
The the purple circles are the guests. As we go down a bit, you can see, I hope, Papa Krebs. The green circles are the hollow crews. The black circle is the waitress. And though you can't actually see directly into it at this point, you have already seen the antechamber and Krebs' office. So I've shown you what that looks like because you know what it looks like in there, basically.
Perfect.
Okay. So we will work out exactly where you guys are, but I will shift you chaps around the around to the top of the entry by the doors, pretty much in the order you came in. And then when we come back from our little break, we can take on the action, I imagine.
Take on the action. That's the halftime theme song.
That was a very good video.
It was, wasn't it? Good singing as well.
It was indeed.
Right, are we pausing it there then? Is that the plan? People are going to come back to an exciting second half adventure.
Yes, why not?
Cool.
That makes complete sense to me.
Oh, let's wait till they all come in.
Be able to.
It's exciting. Of course, Stefan's right next to Sil.
Well, would you have it any other way?
He's made a beeline, quite frankly. So we've got some secret doorways there, haven't we, that we don't know what they go to? Is that correct?
That's right. There are essentially 3 double doors down each side. But the bits that are greyed out are bits you simply haven't been to yet. They're not necessarily secret in the strictest sense. They're just not something you've seen yet. You know, you haven't actually been to those bits. So that is that's the reality of the situation. If you haven't seen them, you don't know what's there. There could be anything.
The floor plan as we know it.
Yeah. And you know, there may be things hidden under there that are of genuine interest, or there may not.
It could be a store cupboard.
Oh, it could be a gardener hiding.
A room full of gardeners.
Don't kill me.
It's a convention in the next. Not only is it the yearly address to the planet by Papa Cress, it's also the Gardeners Convention.
The Kigarisa Gardeners Convention. They're mourning their lost brother from this year.
It was a late booking.
Because they don't feel safe on their own planet anymore.
In fact, they were the ones that hired the security. There's no security for Papa.
Yeah, he's chill. He's not expecting any problems.
You wouldn't want to accidentally provide any security to the guest of honor or anything.
It'd been if we got there and the guards had said, "Who are you here for?" Stefan was like, "I'm here for Papa Krebs." They're like, "No, means nothing to us." Bert the gardener. Oh, Bert the gardener. Well, I knew his brother very well. In fact, you could say that
the entire family of gardeners, all in this sector.
I was there holding his hand when he died, and then I let go of his hands and removed my blade. Right. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break then, yeah? 5-minute break, and then we shall return for some map-based shenanigans.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. Welcome back and welcome to the second half of tonight's Boys from the Baltic Star. We have just entered a luxurious room full of many pools, but sadly no cover. They should have thought better about impending gunfights. But anyway, as is the case after halftime, we always raise a toast to the late great Greyhill Bast, who was for a short time a beloved member of the crew, serving drinks, acting as a meat shield. So to the late great Greyhill Bast.
To Greyhill
Bast. Yeah. Yes, he is not helping my sobriety, but nonetheless, cheers to him.
He lives on in his death by ensuring people are slowly getting drunk.
Well, to be fair,
can ask for.
it is how he should be remembered. Yes. So, you now have access to at least a significant portion of the room on screen. It might actually, I'm tempted to say, it might be slightly fairer of me to zoom out a little bit so you can see a bit more of it, wouldn't it? Something like that, and then I'm just thinking that might be slightly more easy for you to sort of see what's going on a bit.
Got it, yeah.
So on that basis, how would you like to dispose yourselves within the room for the purposes of early mingling at this point? Though I assume you'll stay in communication with each other.
Is the waitress like with a tray kind of thing?
Yes.
Saria will wander up to the waitress, grab a drink, and she's not a great mingler. She's not a very social, skilled kind of person, but she'll try and kind of be around. She'll grab a drink. She'll go off to that left-hand side, the top left small pool, just along from the two people, and just sort of lurk there. It's just, looking genial, but a little bit lost probably. But, because she just wants to keep an eye on things, really. So.
Okay, so in essence, if we put her somewhere like this,
that works for me. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Agnar?
Agnar, I suppose Agnar will go wherever him and Kara end up. He's open to, suggestions, seeing as they entered together, I think.
They should head over and introduce...
Unless she wants to break off.
We should introduce to Papa Krebs. The two of them should go over and just say, thank you for having us kind of thing. Like when you come in, a little introduction and then wander off again,
Yeah, greet the host for the evening.
Okay, yep, that makes sense to me. All right. So we'll move Agnar and Kara essentially to where Papa Krebs is pressing the flesh.
Yeah.
Excellent. And Stefan?
I tell you what, you can probably leave Stefan where he is. He will say good evening to Syl briefly and then go about his business.
All right. Now, rather than move people around all the time repeatedly, you have to sort of envisage that there are people mingling and just wandering about fairly randomly. Do you want to initiate any part of your plan now? Do you want to watch what's going on in any particular area?
I think Strife's not even there yet, so there's not too much we can't jump in with too much, can we? I guess at this point, because he needs to be there.
There is no sign of Strife at all.
No. Stefan would. Sorry, go on. You go first.
No, carry on. Yours was more of a direct thing.
You sure?
Yeah.
Stefan will just say hi to Syl and do again, a nice little bit of small talk and thanks for inviting us. I hope everything's going well. I see you've got the 2 camera crews as you said. He'll then say, I don't know if you're interested at all. I see their solo camera crews, but that Varga gentleman over there, he's in fact one of the. Believe it or not, our crew has 2 artists on board. He's one of our more artsy types. He's quite good with visual media. If you feel as though your crews need a bit of direction, I'm sure he'd be open to that. And then he will try and get a rundown for the sort of time structure of the evening off of her, like what's happening, when does the speech occur, we've never been here before, can you run us through the, what to expect type thing.
There will be, for the purposes of the evening, the way it works is that everybody's assembling and just mingling for half an hour or so. At the end of that, the crews will film the governor giving his address. Once that's done, this drinks party will continue into the evening, and big screens at the far end will show the rest of the broadcast, which will be assembled from a number of locations around the city, where there will be musical acts and things of that nature happening, which will just play in the background for the party. But the real business of this party is the speech itself, and it'll happen in about half an hour.
Okay, wonderful. He'll thank her and sort of make his excuses, and as he's walking away, just say, "Oh, and as I say, if you want me to introduce you to the ex-military propaganda," and sort of raise an eyebrow, member of our crew, just ask. He's very friendly, despite his hairy nature.
Yes, that could be very helpful, if not perhaps for tonight, because he's we already have some certain things planned, but seems to think for a moment. Can you roll a persuade check for me with social?
He can indeed. It is +1. Ooh, that is a 9. +1 is 10.
Okay, 10. Right. She looks enthusiastic, but she says she's worried about making changes this close to the event.
Makes sense. And he will wander over to Saria, I suppose, would be the natural progression for him through however we want to manage this time-wise. Whether anyone else has anything to do.
Yes, no, that's fine. So, is anybody else doing anything in particular? The waitresses, there are 2 of them seemingly, and they come and go through the doors, the sort of middle doors opposite Krebs' office. They seem to go and get their drinks from there. The doors basically to the right of Papa Krebs himself on the map.
Do the doors have windows in?
No, they don't. They are just solid material doors, probably made of metal, I think.
Do they slide when someone goes near them, or are they physically pushed?
You push them open.
Okay. Cara will sort of squeezing a little bit to Agnar, a bit sort of, she's halfway through her drink, playing it a little bit like, "Oh, this is a lovely party,"
Yeah.
I guess because he's sort of lurking around Krebs, so she'll squeeze it in and just say, "I'll, pat him on the arm. I'll see you in a minute." And she's gonna grab another glass from the waitress that goes past. She's drinking slower than it looks, if that makes sense. She's sort of, and then she's gonna head diagonally left towards that top door by guard D.
Yes, okay, yep.
And
how close to the guard?
The bottom end of the door, because I just want to sort of get his reaction. I want to get a look into the door before he can react strongly if it's totally off limits, if that makes sense. I want to play it off like a mistake, like, oh, I'm looking for the toilet. I'm sorry, I was looking for the toilet kind of thing. Unless it obviously says private office, do not enter on it. But do you know what I mean? Like she wants to play it off a little bit like, I was just looking around, I just need the toilet. But so she wants to sort of get a head start on him just in case he stops her.
Okay, roll a deception check with dexterity, please.
No, not dexterity. Until I've never played many roleplay games before, I never really thought about dexterity being quite an important thing. In fact, let's put Cara up on the thing to show everyone how average. It's 8, so it's not a minus, but come on, Cara. They were cold dice. What do we say? Plus dex, plus...
Plus dex, plus deception.
Oh, it's a 7 with nothing.
Okay. You can't be absolutely certain because you're trying to be subtle about it, but you get the very strong impression that those doors are locked.
Okay. Oh, so like sort of a little nudge to seeing there's no giving it kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you've seen the waitresses come and go through the opposite doors, and you can remember how the doors worked at Krebs' office. They don't seem to budge at all with a gentle pressure, and you can't be more aggressive without giving away what you're doing.
Has he bothered to look in my direction or not?
A glance as you approached, and then just back to minding his own business, really.
Cool. She'll sort of, because it's sort of a bit private, she'll go there and sort of pick out her phone. You know, like when you go the wrong way at night, but you don't want it to look like you've gone the wrong way, and you style it out a bit by getting your phone, and you're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. So she'll sort of do that as if she's gone away for a bit of privacy, and then she'll wander back over to like Saria and Stefan and just sort of a bit of mingling, I guess.
Okay. All right. Yep. Okay. And anyone else doing anything?
During that time, can Agnar just he'll greet Alpacrest, so hello, thank you for having us. Hopefully the evening will be as exciting as planned. And he'll make casual conversation. At some point he will just catch the waitress's eye and just say, "Oh, can I have a whiskey, please?" And he will say, just offer Papa Crest and say, "Are you okay? Would you like a drink?"
Okay. Roll a carouse check for me with social.
Oh no, Agnar. Luckily his social's good, so it's only a -1. And that is a 10 -1. It's 9.
9. Okay. Krebs thinks about it for a second, and then he says, "Oh yeah, I think 1 wouldn't hurt. I've got to keep a clear head for the speech, of course, but 1 wouldn't hurt."
I mean, I'm sure they could get you a soft drink or some water or the equivalent of, if you'd rather. And he'll look to the
sure
waitress.
They could, but where's the fun in that?
Man after my own heart. What's your poison?
I'll join you in a whiskey.
Agnar will just sort of throw up 2 fingers to her. And he'd like to, as she walks through the door,
I need to be rude.
In a decent...
She's doing a job.
Agnar will flip the birds.
I thought the social was high.
He'll just, I'll have 2, please. And I think he's in a decent position, but he'd like to make sure he's got a decent position, so when she walks through the door, he can get a general idea of what's going on in there, whether there's a bar, whether there's, whether it's more social space or just literally like a back kitchen where they're...
I'm with you. So essentially he wants to move to a point where he can see what's going on as she comes in and out, yes?
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect the whole room, but just a general...
Yeah, okay. So in essence, he wants to stay within the social range of Krebs, but also catch a a glimpse, perhaps. So if I move him somewhere like that, you can indeed see through not only that set of doors, but the one beyond it, and you get the sort of approximate layout. The doors between those two rooms are open; they're fixed open.
Okay.
And there are 4 tables, relatively small ones in the first room. You see 2 larger sort of boardroom style tables beyond. There seem to be a lot of chairs in the further room, which look as if they've been moved there in order to get them away from where they were previously in both.
Yeah.
And the 4 tables are covered with snacks and bottles and glasses. The waitresses seem to come and go through there, and they are picking up trays of nibbles, trays of glasses, and whatever people want.
Sure.
The waitress does indeed bring out, and there are 2 of them basically circulating, going in and out at various points. Sometimes they're both in the room together. Sometimes they're both out in the lobby. It varies on the moment that you pick. But they seem to pour drinks for each guest based on their own order, and then bring food more generally on trays for people to help themselves.
Okay, wonderful. That is all Agnar was really after. He will raise a glass with Papa Cress and just say to brighter futures.
To brighter futures.
And at some point he will end the small talk and join the other 3, I suppose.
Okay, fair enough. So eventually our conspirators form sort of a huddle.
A conspirators huddle.
Very inconspicuous.
Now, we are now sort of only 20 minutes or so from the speech, and there is still no sign of strife. And the clock is obviously ticking.
Okay. Kara will go up to the waitress and say, "Excuse me, is there a toilet? Is there a toilet in here I can make use of?" Giggles a little bit. I've gone a bit too hard and fast.
Not in here, sorry, but either side on the concourse.
Okay, so Kara will go out through the doors. I'm guessing the 2 guards are still there. They sort of notice her go out.
Yes.
She'll say, "I'm just going to the toilet. I'll be back in a sec."
Yep.
Sort of wanders into
Got my hand stamped.
Sorry, yeah. Go on, I'm back in. Wanders into the first and gives a tries to get in touch with Strife's private his secure contact details.
Yep. He answers immediately.
Says, "Hi Strife, this is Kara. We're in security looks low. He's given his speech in 20 minutes. Are you still planning to be here in time for it all to go down?"
He responds, "I will be there to give my speech, but I feel it would be better if I'm not there when the chaos happens. I'll arrive when they need their steadying hand."
Oh man, we're being hung out to dry here. Okay. Kara will say, "Are you gonna play it by ear, or do you want me to drop you? Do you want me to ping you when the time feels right?"
I have someone inside.
Okey-dokey. Okay, Kara say, "Anything else we need to know at this point?"
Just make sure it happens on camera.
Okay. Kara will sort of give a and neither enthusiastic nor dismissive, sort of grunty sigh kind of thing. Very matter of fact. And then hangs
Okay.
up and sort of, I don't know, powders her nose, and back in she goes, I guess.
Okay. Fair enough.
And then she'll let the others know, I guess, through private means of what he said.
Well, she can do that as she walks.
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
We're all connected together.
Yeah. And the key thing is he needs to keel over or whatever on camera.
On camera.
Mm.
Having this information, can Stefan go to Sil?
Yes.
Yes. And just make some. He'll put it in with further small talk. You say, "Oh, are you on the doors? Are you working? Are you socializing? Is it a bit of both?" And offer her a drink if she wants somebody to get her a drink.
Okay. Yes. Roll me a carouse check with social, and you can have a boon on this.
She likes you.
It's lucky for the boon. That's a 7 plus 1 is 8.
Okay. Yes, she says she'd love a drink. She's feeling a bit at a loose end now because she's got to take Papa Krebs to the right place for his speech in a few minutes, and she can't really get into the mingling properly until that's underway, and then when that's all over, she can relax a bit.
Wonderful. He will. He'll ask where the speech is taking place. Is there a lectern? Is
just at the southern end of the lobby. So it is literally at the far end of the room, which obviously I've arranged it so you can't see, but at the bottom of the bottom pool there, he will stand there and be filmed from the other side of the water, essentially where the Hollow Crews are set up. They'll be able to film him against the backdrop, which includes a view out over the city.
Okay, wonderful. As Stefan glances down there, is there like a table, or if you were attending somewhere that had a guest speaker and they'd have a glass and a bottle of water?
There is not. There is absolutely nothing. It's just open space.
Okay. He'll ask what she would like to drink.
She will have a brandy.
Wonderful. And you say, okay, I'll be right back. And he'll go up to one of the waitresses, and he'll say, he'll try and wait until they're a little bit away from Papa Cress, and just say, the Papa Cress's assistant or whatever, he would sort of have an idea of what job title is.
Yeah.
Has asked me to arrange for her to have a brandy. And bring it to her, and he'll give the impression that he's doing it in a professional manner rather than a personal one, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
I've been directed to fetch a brandy for Papa Cress's assistant.
Absolutely fine. Would you like anything, sir?
Yes, actually. Can I have a glass of water and actually make it 2 brandies and a glass of water, please?
Absolutely. She disappears and moments later reappears. There's quite a high, even though there are only 2 waitresses, there aren't that many people here. It's a select crowd, and the turnaround is quick. They are bringing drinks in a matter of moments. So she's back with a tray with the 3 glasses on it just moments later.
Wonderful. He'll pick up the 3 glasses, and as he walks back down to Sil, can he pass off the glass of water to Kara and just flash a wink at her?
Yes, he can. Is he trying to hide the fact that he's passed her a glass of water, or is he just passing her a glass of water?
No, he'll just pass her a glass of water. I mean, he won't be flamboyant about it, but he'll just hand her the water.
Fair enough. Okay, so Cara now has a glass of water.
Thanks. I was a bit thirsty. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And he'll head back to Sil and pass her a brandy and raise a glass with her and have a drink and just say, hopefully everything goes as planned this evening.
Thank you. I'm sure it will. The speech is very short, and the governor will be saying things that people want to hear for the most part. Once he's spoken for just a couple of minutes, the cameras will cut away, and then, well, everything can relax a bit, and I can have a few more drinks. And yes, I'm sure it'll go well.
I'm sure it will. As this conversation is happening, and could he attempt to place the postcard picture of Earth Park into a pocket of hers?
Yes.
Pocket
Absolutely,
or bag,
yeah.
or something, something out of the way, preferably pocket where it won't be found immediately, should anything.
Yes, it's deception dexterity.
Okay. And he'll make some casual conversation about Earth Park. We're off. That's our next location.
You can go for stealth if you prefer with dexterity, either way.
Sorry, stealth or
deception with dexterity.
Deception. Wonderful. Here we'll go with stealth and dexterity. And make some casual conversation about Earth Park and
absolutely
the nature of Earth Park. That is a 7 + 3 is 10.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, no problem at all. You managed to slide it into her shoulder bag. No difficulty.
Perfect. And then he will make his excuses and head back to he's heading back to his friends.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Link, this has taken longer than I...
No, apologise to me.
Thought it would.
I'm picturing the slipping in of the bag. I'm liking it.
He would then, as he makes his way back, are both the waitresses in the room, or is one in the room and one not?
As he makes his way back, both of the waitresses are actually out of the room.
Okay. Can he make an attempt to go through the first double doors on his left as he walks down?
Yes. You want to do that subtly?
As subtly as he can, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then that will be a deception check. Well, you can probably you prefer stealth, don't you, for this character?
Yeah, or streetwise if
streetwise won't work. It'll be stealth, I suspect, for you.
Wonderful. He will use his stealth
with dexterity.
Oh, blimey! That is a 10 + 3.
10. Okay, yeah, that's fine. The doors here are unlocked. Do you want to go through them, or just here inside?
He will go through them.
Okay, that's fine. If he goes through them, then he will immediately see the layout of that corner of the of the thing, fundamentally.
Yeah.
And it's again in many ways it's kind of a slightly uninspiring office space. However, it does have a long boardroom table in a room at the end, and then there are 4 smaller offices.
But there's nobody visible in the room.
There is nobody, as far as you can tell, in this corner of the suite. No.
If there's nobody visible, he will access his smuggler's compartment.
Okay.
And remove just the liquid cyanide.
Okay.
and put it
All
into
right.
a pocket, and then close this compartment.
Yep,
Okay.
that's absolutely fine.
And then he'll go back out. And make his way over to his friends.
All right. Okay.
Perhaps could I just go back a little bit and just say that he puts the liquid cyanide into his empty glass with his brandy in. That had his brandy in.
Yes.
And then make his way back.
All right. So the liquid cyanide is now the only thing, more or less, in his now empty glass.
Yes, minus the residue.
Yeah. Glass of brandy minus brandy plus cyanide.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yep, I'm following.
And then when he's back, he will show his glass to his companions and wink and sort of try and subtly, in the middle of the group of four of them, I assume if we all turn inwards, it's quite a social group, pour it into the glass of water that Kara is holding.
Okay. All right. So the glass of water now has the cyanide in it.
Yes.
I'm on board so far. Okay. This is going to be one of those horrible things we're going to have to replay it in my head. Where the hell did it go?
This
Like
is
the
like,
cup and ball trick.
it's like that Hello Hello episode with the candle with the handle, the candle with the handle in the gâteau for the chateau, and the pill in the till with the drug in the jug, and
Yes.
And as he does, he'll say to them, I think Papa Crest might be looking a little thirsty. Perhaps somebody could persuade him to parch his throat before his speech.
Okay.
I don't know who the rest of us would.
So who is going to take this idea and run with it?
Is Krebs, what's his glass like at the minute? Is he still working his way through his whiskey? Is he done with his whiskey? What is he?
He has essentially finished his drink. He drank a significant part of it while he was standing there, and he's now waving an empty glass around, basically.
How long are we from the speech?
We're now down to probably less than 10 minutes.
Agnar's happy to run with it if you guys aren't.
I'm happy to. If you want it depends. If you need a distraction, I've got an idea in my mind for a distraction, which that's all I've got in my mind at the minute. If you need the guards not to be paying attention, I can do that as well. That's the two things I can offer to you right now, I guess, in how my mind's working. If Agnar wants to go and sort of, get that drinking happening, that is also fine too. So, yeah. My plans are like support plans, if as it were, for your main plan, I guess.
Okay. Agnar will happily take the glass then and attempt to run with it. As long as you guys don't want to. If you want it, go for it.
Don't run with drinks.
Not glasses, no. Glasses and scissors.
That could only end terribly. Yes. That's the dangerous thing here. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, do you have anything else you need to prepare, or are you waiting for the clock to tick down a bit?
Kara is gonna motion. Just wants to look at the guests briefly.
Okay.
They've been mingling. They're faceless pink blobs.
I know. Yeah. That is the nature of guests.
But is there anything of note about any of the guests, or are they literally dignitaries and generics that we've not seen before? If that makes sense.
Roll a perception check for me. Sorry, you know what I mean. Streetwise.
Streetwise, yeah, I can do that. Oh, hang on, I need to.
With intellect.
With intellect. Cool. Yeah, I was just changing the character on the map so everyone knows it's Kara doing it. So, streetwise is a 0, intellect's a +2. The dice are quite cool. I got them quite warm, and oh god. It's 6 plus 2 for intellect is 8.
Okay. You don't recognize any of them. They look a mixture of corporate types and a few reasonably well-dressed local wealthy or dignitary people. Nothing particularly stands out about them.
Thank you. In which case, Kara will motion to Saria, and as the minutes tick down, they'll sort of wander over towards, I guess, the back of the room where D is, and sort of, you know, they'll go and stand like halfway down the left-hand side of the big pool, sort of looking in the pool. You know, like they'll get a couple of coin type shape things and sort of toss them in as if they're doing sort of lucky stuff, or, you know, like a mix between fortune, luck, and trying to drop. There's an old like water game of trying to drop one coin on top of the other, isn't there, to try and get it land on top?
Yes.
They'll just do that unless they're sort of stopped, but they're just sort of as if they're having a nice evening. They're just sort of dropping a couple of bits of this and that, bits of metal or something that they got on them, little bits.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, it doesn't attract what you'd call a great deal of attention.
Cool, thank you. I just want to be in that position, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can Agnar ask the waitress for a second glass of water?
Absolutely. Yes. Yep. Okay. Within a few moments, once again, you have another glass of water. So you now have a glass of water in each hand.
Yeah.
Oh no! Keep track.
I don't. Has he before he takes the second glass of water? Retrospectively looking back, has he, or in fact looking over at that time, which hand is Papa drinking with?
His right.
His right hand. So Agnar will hold the poison one in his left hand.
Okay.
And he will take the non-poison one, his water, in his right hand.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes, the left one is the sinister one.
Yes. yes, most definitely. And then he will wait till about 5 minutes before the speech time before needing to do anything else.
Okay. All right.
Stefan will probably remove himself from where Agnar is hanging around at that sort of time. Possibly go chat with Sil again as the speech is going on, if she has, time.
Yes. Well, in fact, if you go to spend a little bit of time with Sil, you will walk with her more or less to the end of the room where the speech is to be given. So in essence, she will eventually sort of take her place on the corner of the pool at the end, and Stefan can absolutely, stand next to her for the purposes of just keeping the chat going.
Yeah,
she won't raise an eyebrow at that. You understand?
Sure.
So if I show you what we're talking about, because of course I completely forgot you can't see any of that, so it looks like that essentially.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. So that is the layout at the moment, and then she begins the process of kind of raising her finger and gently beckoning Papa Krebs over to begin his speech, and he makes his apology to the guest he's speaking to, and he then wends his way down towards the end of the pool where you guys are, more or less.
What sort of time is that before the speech?
That'll be a couple of minutes before the actual speech.
Okay. Can just sort of like 5 minutes before then, I guess, if he's still where he is, can Agnar approach?
Yes, absolutely.
And he'll have both glasses of water in hand, and he'll say, I always it's a Varga tradition to see back our whiskey with water, and then to follow it with a second whiskey. I understand not before your speech, but perhaps you'd humour me with the water, and I'll have the whiskey waiting for after your triumphant speech.
Okay. So You hand Papa Krebs the poisoned water. Is this
The one in his left hand.
one in his left hand? Okay.
The one in his left hand towards his right hand.
Okay.
Kind of
And
handing over.
And you say to Papa that he should drink it.
Yeah, and Agnar will raise his and wait
Clink
for
together.
Yeah.
Okay.
As that is happening, because it's a bit of a moment. Who's my best streetwise? So I would like to just check if either of the guards near them, like surreptitiously check if either of the guards are particularly paying attention to them or not really. They're just sort of
not really paying attention to them. I mean, they're scanning the room, so periodically they are casting an eye. Yes.
Can they pick a moment where, I guess Saria can basically like reach into Kara's pocket and just sort of take the little the stunner and just slip it into hers. They're right next to each other, sort of laughing and giggling with the thingies. So they've sort of covered their angle. So her back, it's that bit where they've turned a 30-degree angle, so it's as much out of view of either of the two of them as possible, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. There's no problem with that at all. Yep. Okay. Yes. Roll a stealth check for me with dexterity.
Oh, we're back on the thing just because I was hitting zeros. 10.
Okay. Yeah. That's no problem at all. Yep. The weapon is transferred and nobody spots it.
Cool. And then Saria will sort of head round the north side of that pool and sort of just about loud enough to Kara say, look, hey, let's try it with me on this side. That'll make it even harder. So her plan is to go around to the east side of the pool, so she's near the other guard, if that makes sense. So they're both. So Kara's near guard D. Yeah, perfect.
Yep, like that.
Yeah.
So in essence, they're facing each other across the pool. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. That's perfect.
Okay. Right. So that has all happened about 5 minutes before, and the clock is now ticking. Agnar, I need you to roll a persuade with social or intellect for me.
Wrong character.
Yeah, for Agnar.
Could he in fact use deception? Or are we talking persuade here?
He's not.
Going off the,
This is him handing the drink over. This is persuade rather than deception.
Okay, wonderful. So -1 total.
Okay.
I didn't really think this. So.
Yeah, why did we pick him?
That is a 9 -1 is 8.
Okay. Yes. Papa Krebs clinks the glass and says, your good health, and throws it down.
Immediately, Kara will turn towards the D guy and approach him to say, have you got any more? Get close to him. Have you got any more coins? Have you got any more? I don't know if they've got coins in the plan, but have you got anything else that we can play the game with? Sort of that's on gesturing, being a bit big in his face. Have you got any more of this kind of thing?
And anything we can throw in the pool, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I will half turn to her. Go, yeah, have we got anything we can throw in the pool right now? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Saria?
She'll sort of turn towards C and sort of start on the same thing as well. She'll have one hand in her pocket on the stunner, and then the other hand she'll sort of be overly gesturing, sort of draw attention to that hand, I guess. Have you got any? I'm winning. Her last words at this point would be sort of, "I'm winning here." Have you got any more? I'm winning here, and sort of try and get close up to him.
Okay. The guard speaking to Saria is in the process of trying to explain that, you should probably fish out of the pool the things you threw into it the first time.
Spot.
Yeah, that's roughly what that conversation is. And Syl is beckoning Papa Krebs over, and it is at that point that Papa Krebs takes his drink, and immediately his face contorts as if, the hell is that? And he opens his mouth as if he's...
expression. Agnar will match the expression once he's downed his water. He'll sort of play along like, oh,
okay,
look at his glass a little bit.
All right. And he opens his mouth as if he's going to say something, and what comes out is this sort of rasping sound, and then he sort of swallows a couple of times like he's trying to get rid of it, and then quite rapidly, over the course of just a few seconds, he begins to shake and let out this horrible croaking sound, and then fall to one knee. And even before anyone can get to him, he falls further to the ground and is lying on the ground, curled up, making this gasping sound.
Can two things I would like to do, if possible. Stefan would run towards one of the camera crews.
Yep.
And Agnar would say, "Stand back! I'm a doctor. I'm a medic," and remove a medikit from his person.
Okay.
And start checking his vitals.
Okay. Yes. All right. Yep. Okay. So he's twitching on the ground and all the rest. Can you roll? Actually, it wouldn't be either of you. Kara and Saria, can you each roll a streetwise check for me, please, with intellect?
With intellect, yep. They could go about it in two very different ways. That's interesting. Right. Kara's all on intellect. And she's rolled a 6. Don't need to show a 6. That's pretty generic, isn't it? 6 plus 2 is 8. And Saria, who's got a streetwise and 1 intellect, so she's also getting a plus 2. She's rolled rather well. I am going to show this because it needs showing. It is an 11 plus 2 is 13.
It's 13. Okay. Saria notices that the guard in front of her, who's number C, if you see what I mean, as soon as he sees what's going on, instead of looking shocked, he turns away and seems to say something into his communicator, but only very briefly, and then he turns back to her and brushes past her and starts moving down to see what's going on.
Okay. Saria will follow him close, but in his wake, I guess.
Okay.
So, rushing towards it, but trying to stay on his shoulder. Cause I take it she didn't hear anything he said. It was too...
No, it was almost into his helmet microphone or whatever, yes.
So it could be, "Come on, Stanley," or it could be, "We need 30 guys in here now." So she just knows that he said something.
She has no idea. Yeah.
So she'll follow on his shoulder at this point.
Can Stefan just say to one of the camera crews, "What the hell are you doing? This is monumentous. Why aren't you filming this?"
Okay. Yes, he absolutely can. In fact, he can yell it if he wants to both of them.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Both camera crews immediately turn to film what's happening on the ground. They'd obviously been thinking they wouldn't film what they thought might be an embarrassing moment for the governor.
I mean, it could be brilliant if he recovers from his fall.
Peaceful.
It could be a story of triumph.
Well, yes,
Stefan will say to them.
Yeah, the waitress flees back into the area with the drinks. And
Can Kara rush outside of the north exit?
yes.
Please.
Yes. I mean, at this point, we're still covering a situation where it's fairly free form.
Yeah.
And that, I strongly suspect, will not last, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. She's going to head to sort of the main door, and I don't know what the soundproofing is like, but she's going to try and go out as casually as possible at this point.
Okay.
So she's trying to cover that ground and then sort of walk out slowly to sort of, but not rush off. Sort of stand near the two guards that are there. You know, again, as if she was sort of taking a call or something like that. If that makes sense.
Yep.
Just getting a bit of air.
Okay. All right. The guard on the right of her, which obviously, you can't actually see, of course, because I haven't scrolled it, which is my fault. Guard B, he glances across and looks at her, and he says, "What's happening?"
She's going to say, I don't know, I was playing some sort of dropping coins in the pond, and there's suddenly a kerfuffle. I don't know if you need to get inside. There's definitely something going on.
Can you roll a persuade for me with intellect or social, your preference?
That'll definitely... that'll be intellect. But neither are terrible. Oh, that's a +4 on a 7, so that's 11.
Okay. What he actually does is to shout to his colleague on the other side and say, "Get in there."
Can Agnar, as he's doing part of his mid check on Papa, did he just drop his glass? Is it just lying on the floor?
It fell with him. Initially, he was gripping it, but he's now basically let go of it.
Can Agnar try and just scoop stuff out the way, whatever's on the, and he'll just throw it into a pool of water if he can that's nearby?
He certainly can try. Roll dexterity.
As if he's clearing the space. That is pretty good. So it's 10 plus 2, I believe.
Yeah, without any difficulty of subtlety, he just flicks it without even looking like he means to. Flicks it into the little pool right in the middle of the room.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Nice.
And then he'll continue to check for vitals. Well, he'll check for vitals. He knows what's going on. But he'll pulse, and he'll whatever else the medikit involves. Agnar would know. I don't. I don't know. I don't know if there's a scan involved or whether it's all on his knowledge or whatever it is. But he'll make out as though he's doing what he's supposed to.
He is doing his thing. Yes. Yeah. Okay. As he does so, Kara, you see Stanley Strife approaching rapidly from essentially the north. He doesn't glance at you, give any indication that he is paying any kind of attention. He is quite a muscular figure for a Varga, and he is moving with purpose. And he, seeing the positions where everyone is at the moment, he goes straight to the westernmost of the 3 doors, and strides inside as if he, owns the place. And as he gets inside, you can actually hear him begin to speak even before the door has shut. And he sort of shouts out, "What is happening here?"
As Stefan hears that, can he scream to the... he'll say to the guy on his right, "You keep filming Papa. People need to see this." And he'll say to the guy on the left, "You come with me. This is important." And try and lead him he'll direct him to start filming towards that end of the room and sort of try leading him up towards Strife.
All right, so he wants to essentially lead him up to the left.
Yeah, where you'd get the most immediate direct view at him without people in the way, and then walk down that.
Yeah.
From a camera point of view.
So in essence, if we sort of move them so they're getting different views of the room, but also make sure that he'd have a good view of Stanley.
Yes.
That's what we're going for here, right?
And tell him to. Yeah, just to get closer, so he's got a better shot of Stanley speaking, and he can shoot Stanley whilst the other guy has been instructed to carry on.
Okay.
Filming Papa.
Agnar, can you roll a medic check for me, please?
Certainly can.
You can use education, of course, as a bonus.
Ooh, wonderful.
Budget.
It's a 4, but yeah, I mean, you understand he obviously doesn't want to find out what's happened.
I'm not. This isn't in order to try and save the man's life.
Well, perfect. As that's fine.
That's
then.
just
He
as
rolled
well.
a 4, but luckily he has a +5, 3 from medic and 2 from education.
Oh my goodness.
So I feel
it's a
slightly
9.
bad that my one bad roll has been on something that
he's
got a
really
+5
good
on.
at.
Yeah. I apologise.
Fair
Yes,
enough.
it's a 9.
Peak Agnar.
It's a 9. Okay, so Agnar witnesses it is really not that many seconds after the poison was administered in such an enormous dose. Papa Krebs expires right in front of you.
Agnar will pronounce in a very natural manner without turning to the camera.
Yep.
This man's dead. It looks like he's had a heart attack.
Okay. Can you roll a deception for me, please?
Yes.
With intellect.
Yes. Oh. Sorry. No, I feel bad. I've done really well tonight. It's an 11 plus 1.
A 12.
Oh, that's better than rolling a 2. I thought you were bad because you were rolling a 2 or something. I was like,
no, I think at this point I'd prefer a 2. I feel as though I'd rolled
you've had a good
consistently well, apart from the 4. But I happen to have a +5.
And not only that, that was the one where you didn't care if he lived or died. At that point.
Yeah, exactly.
You were due a good night.
So, yes, there is, an audible gasp. There is a sense that you've absolutely carried the room with you. Your pronouncement has hit home. And Stefan is sort of cheerfully, just gently making sure that the cameraman next to him is capturing Stanley Strife. Strife is therefore on camera when this announcement is made. And he has, it turns out, an excellent deception roll. He looks into the camera, not necessarily making it obvious, but that's kind of the direction he's facing as he addresses the room. And he says, "This is a tragedy, but it doesn't need to be a disaster. We will accord him every honor. We will embrace his legacy, and as he would want, we will improve upon it. I think now perhaps we should abandon the intended celebrations for this evening. There will need to be mourning, and there will need to be some outpouring of grief at the loss of a figure so important to us all But I promise you, tomorrow, we will rebuild. Not waiting for help from outside. We will do it ourselves. We will become our own community, and we will support each other, as Papa Krebs would have wanted. And he turns away as if in deep grief and stalks off to lean against the wall. And just one person, but then a second and then a third, gives a little round of applause. And Kara, outside in the main concourse, the sort of shock and the surprise and the people spilling out of the cafes and staring at each other in confusion, slowly, one by one, they start to applaud as well, until eventually you can hear quite distinctly through the Fredericksburg, there's a certain amount of applause. It doesn't last very long. It isn't, people are a bit confused and they're a bit worried about what's coming, but they want to show their appreciation for somebody saying the right thing at the right moment. And it is at exactly that second that all four of your characters receive the bleep from the line you have open to Officer Pramus. And you hear her voice. She says, I take it, clean up on aisle 3? And that's where we'll call it for tonight.
What an ending. I feel strangely optimistic. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and watching through to the end. Much appreciated. Yes. Any feedback, comments, as always, is welcomed. And thank you, and we will see you next week. Farewell.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Good night.
Okay, recording is stopped. I shall close.